Welcome to Holistic Human Performance Podcast. My name is Gena Bradshaw, where we talk all things holistic health, wellness, spirituality, fitness, meditation, energetics, and so much more to help you become the healthiest version of yourself. Let's dive in. This is not medical advice. This is simply to help you on your journey through health, fitness, and wellness. I hope this helps. You can complement this with anything that you are doing currently in your life. Enjoy. Ever find it super difficult to integrate these holistic tools and modalities and you really just don't know where to start? Well, I got you covered. It's been a long time coming and it's finally gotten to this place where I can really be wherever and whenever you need me to be. And that's why I created the Holistic Human Performance Virtual Wellness Center. The cool part about this wellness center is you can take me wherever, whenever you need, filled with meditations, nutrition coaching, exercises, workouts, online courses, all of these things you get in this virtual wellness center. Because let's be real, sometimes it's challenging to be able to integrate these tools and know what to do with them. And not only that, if you are a one-on-one coaching client with me, you have automatic access to this entire virtual wellness center so that you have the tools to do it on your own. And guess what? You're getting a 5-day free trial. So you can find that at www.holistichumanperformance.co/academy. Go get your 5-day free trial. Try it out. Let us know what you think. Enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Holistic Human Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Gena Bradshaw, and today we have another special guest who has been with us before. We have Jake Santora with us today. He is our astrologer. He's coming on every single month telling us about all the important teachings and wisdom of astrology and what we really should be looking out for as a collective and how it can help us just live better lives and thrive. So I'm really happy to have Jake on again as we go into Cancer season and we're headed into July. So welcome back.
Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate it. Excited to be back and want to give a shout out to all the listeners and thank them for the praise that we received last time when we were talking Gemini season and moving forward from that energy flow and into this beautiful Cancer season. And extra special, I think, as the listeners hopefully will learn as we chat here that you are a Cancer rising and a Cancer sun yourself.
Birthday
coming in hot on Thursday. So this is lovely to have this experience and what a beautiful season it's going to be.
I know, like I said when we were chatting before, I'm like divine timing, like this worked out perfectly. So I'm really excited to like learn again. You're like, we spoke about this. You're learning about yourself. So I'm like so obviously interested in learning all about what you have to say today.
Love it, love it. And I think for our listeners too, we talked about our natal charts and to your expectation too, right? I think the representation and the energy in your own chart is so amplified and powerful. And for you specifically with Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising, this is going to resonate, I think, pretty well with you. But I think for everyone as they take away from this listen, we can all relate to these different energy forces as this beautiful zodiac sign. And we'll get into rulership as well as how we'll talk the moon a little bit today because it's the rulership of Cancer and how those relate, which we all can relate to the moon. But these different elemental forces exist in all our charts. So I think when we kind of get into it, everyone's going to be able to take something away of how are these emotions and these energies manifesting in our own lives, which is powerful, but going to be extra for you, Jenna, for sure.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Like, what do we need to know?
Well, I think as we said last time, right, we'll talk about the moon, but right, the representation of these seasonalities is really where is the sun sitting above us, right? And right, it's in this beautiful star alignment of Cancer. And that is where these different seasonalities come into play and these energy forces of the sun, resonating down to us here on Earth. So I think one big thing that hit me, I was always kind of, walking around, loving the spirituality, loving astrology. I started to now obtain my master's in modern psychology as well and see how all these things align. But I mentioned that because I think we all can relate sometimes to walking around, outside and just, for me, sometimes my head would go down when I walked past someone when I had some self-consciousness or self-esteem issues, and it could have been a stranger, but having that instant emotion of kind of putting my head down and protecting myself is going to be a big word that will come up for Cancer, as it's about self-protection. But
Mm.
of late, when I found astrology, I was like, why don't I start looking up? Because if we all just took a moment now and looked up into the sky, we're going to see this beautiful sun and we're going to recognize these powerful forces. So I just want to point that out of, these planets, these zodiac signs, they're above us, right? It's not just this beautiful chart, but these are real energy forces that are rotating and angling to us here on Earth, just in this infinite time of space, which I think is so, so fascinating. But specifically with this energy of Cancer sitting in that sun right now, it is really about self protection. It is about
Mm.
nurturing, it's about caring. And I think it's fascinating. I would say to you, look at the work you're doing in your career is so nurturing, so caring to others. And when it comes to your son, right, that is a core value of your livelihood, which, you can speak to it. Of I'm curious of how Cancer in that self-protecting and nurturing side of yourself, has that been such a powerful force in your own life?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm like an extroverted, but also very much introverted. So, like, for me, I'll have times, and honestly, like right now is how I've been feeling it too, where like I kind of want to go like into my shell and just kind of like retreat from the world a little bit. So I've been kind of like, yeah, I've just been like really doing more self-care. Self-care in a way though that is nurturing to my nervous system, because we had the solstice, solstice, and then we had the strawberry full moon.
Mm,
So for me, everything like emotionally was just like amplified, and I really had to like, still am working through that, and that's where the retreating comes in. However, when I lean into that more and just like honor that more and just be like, okay, like this is me, like it's my energy, this is what I need, and I just accept that. And when I do that, I actually get more like creative downloads and things
mm,
that help me on my career path, for business, being creative in that sense. I would say my creativity has enhanced the more that I've leaned into, more of like the emotional healing, I would say, because it obviously plays out into every aspect of your life.
mhm. You so beautifully put it, and that's such a Cancer thing to say as you went through it, because it is the emotional depths. You're looking at those emotional depths and pointing out there the acceptance of your responsibility to self-protect yourself is the first key, right? It's when we think about nurturing, I think some of us can go to that feminine space, whether you're a male or female, right, of
Right.
how to care for others, when it's really, what can I pour into others, but how can I pour into others if I don't pour into myself? So it is honoring that joy, and it's saying, hey, if I need to buy this cozy blanket and I'm going to light a candle and watch a movie for 2 hours, this is the perfect season to do that. Because to your point, once you've energized yourself and honored that, man, the amplifications that will come to now flow into others and help protect them and help them and nurture them is going to be even more powerful. But it starts with us. And I think that's any chart, any person in there, it's got to start with us and honoring these energy forces within us. But the time period now to find our roots and our caring for ourselves, getting a hug, giving a hug is always the key. And if you don't have the key person to maybe do it, find an animal that can help you. My cat
Yes.
helps me get it flowed, but it's just that instant gratification of those energies are going to help inspire continuation through this time period. So nurture, nurture, nurture. Look at your environment. Look at the ways that you can nurture for yourself is going to be so pivotal in this time frame.
Yeah, and I also would add, like, as a Cancerian, like if I have something that's out of alignment and very like, let's just say toxic in my life, and I'm like I personally am one of those people that just like cuts it off. I'm
Mm.
kind of just like, okay, bye, like see you never, and not even think about it. And some people might think that's harsh, but that's just like kind of the innateness of Cancerians. So like if you are someone who is, a sun, moon, Cancer, it is kind of innate within us because that's where the protective mechanism kind of comes in, where it's like, no, like these are my boundaries. I have to protect myself. And obviously there are ways to go about it. But if you're feeling now, especially that amplification of like maybe like your closet, you go to your closet, like, I need to throw all of this out, like new wardrobe, like, bye. I did that the other day. Like, nope, bye. I literally donated it. I rearranged things in my home. Like, those are the types of things we're talking about. And then reassessing relationships.
Mm.
What are those? Because Cancerians, like, we're all about family and relationships. And if you F with us in that way, you get the claws.
Yeah, I love it. And you're pointing out the crab, right? That is the zodiac sign here. It's the representation of that crab, and crabs have this hard shell on the outside. Otherwise, they can come out and they can kind of rosy about. But you also hit a great point there, too, of the environment, right? It's
Mm,
just as individuals, especially at younger people that might be listening here, we can't always control our environment. Like we're
right.
trying to do our due diligence, but the environment's going to affect us. So I'm seeing a crab right now at the depths of an ocean. There's a lot going on, right? Even Finding Nemo kind of at the end when these
Yeah.
crabs are moseying around getting some water, like, can we jump back into our shell to that familiarity and gain that protection that I've got this shell? I'm comfortable in this shell. I understand this shell. This is my shell to protect, but I'm open to coming out, and once I come out, the environment around me is going to, throw us in different directions in different ways. And how do we enhance the ability to maintain our protectiveness in these different environments from people, or to your point, the closets, the wardrobes, like we're always going to have this familiar space of protection, but at the same time, what are we doing for ourselves to make sure we're not overprotecting?
You got your cat.
Got my cat already
Hi.
here, and
I
yep,
have
he
my
gets
dog
involved.
behind me too.
When they know, I'll see even, our animals, I think, can familiarize the energy too. So seeing how they represent it there. But yeah, I would, he always protects me in times of doubt. So that's like another element of, go to that familiarity, go to that comfort. And I think at the same time, we also can withdraw in different ways. And when we
Yeah.
withdraw, we got to make sure it's not to disconnect and disassociate all the time. It's making sure that we're still not overemphasizing it. So I think finding that balance is another key element of protecting ourselves and nurturing others.
Mm.
We can find ourselves to withdraw out of fear, and maybe we miss an opportunity that might come to fruition. So it's trying to always come back to the self, but not being overcompensated. So, those that we love TikTok, and maybe that's my disconnect for, an hour versus 3 hours, that is a vastly different experience that you can have to make sure you're finding that harmony and balance.
Right, right, right. That I like that you said, kind of like one foot in, one foot out kind of thing, because also with Cancerians, it's a very like intuitive sign. And, leaning into spirituality, but not being so up in the sky where you're not taking responsibility for like the 3D world and like, paying your bills and like going to work and like the realities of things, because that can also happen. And also just like as a water sign, really like going, if you're like too into the depth of it and like feel like you can't come out, finding that happy balance, that happy medium of like, you got to have one foot in the 3D, one foot in the 5D, and bringing those worlds together.
Well said. Well said. And I think that would bring us to, the elements of the moon, right? When
Yeah.
you look up and you see these energy forces, I think the moon is one of the most constant variables in astrology while also being inconsistent. So for revolutionary astrology, we talk about that rulership. So rulership coming into play, especially, Cancer Sun is a representation, but those that might have Moon in their chart in a different place, they can relate to some of these same energy forces because they definitely align together of the caring and the nurturing side of things. We'd even say the Moon represents kind of the feminine space for
Mm.
individuals. So for males, it could be representation of romantic relationships, could be connectivity to the mother. But I think overall, to maybe even just simplify that Moon experience, I think it is the most fascinating piece because it's just constantly growing literally above us. It's coming down. We have new moon, we have quarter moons, we have all these different phases, but even in the aspects of it's going through our chart. So when you bring in the houses are representing where these things are manifesting for us in our experiences. So
Hmm.
look at maybe to even intensify your nurturing over these next few weeks here. It's where is maybe the moon in my natal chart, and then how is the moon passing through each of my houses? Because it's going to make a full cycle. 28 days almost it takes to pass through all 12 of these houses, all 12 of these zodiac signs. So even looking at the moon from its perspective of its growth over the weeks to where it might be falling in your chart passing through, let's say it passes through the fifth house of creativity, freedom, child's play. It's maybe nurturing that child side of us. And to your point, the Cancer instincts a little bit more. So, man, there's so much you could do with just that moon element bringing in over the next few weeks, too, of where is it constantly changing? Because Jupiter goes a little slower, Saturn goes slower. They're so far out there. So they're passing from progressions to transits, take more time, while the moon is just constantly going. So, even looking at our mood changes and where they're manifesting in our lives based on those houses representing is going to be big, but just always coming back to that nurturing instinct is going to be key.
That's funny you say like that inner child because playfulness is been my word for 2024. And for my birthday, my fiance and I, he was like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oddly, I want to go to the Museum of Modern Art. Let's just like do that." And I've never been before and we did it and it was a lot of fun.
Wow, that is great. That is great. Yeah.
Yeah. It was random. It just popped into my head. I'm like, "All right, let's go with it."
But you honored, right? And I think that's the biggest thing. Honor those emotions, taking radical responsibility for the elements of ourselves. And then you had a partner, right? It's like, well, if this person isn't going to give me a hug, who's the one that could give me a hug? And you're able to find that camaraderie is super, super powerful. And I bet you, he had a wonderful experience as well during it because you guys got to share that type of energy forces is powerful. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fun. Now, you have on the PDF you sent me, you had a question for the collective, which I really loved. This is a good one.
Love it. Love it. Yes. So let's go into the rulership one more time, right?
Yeah.
So we always look at three of the elements. You've got our beautiful zodiac sign of Cancer, we've got our planet there of the moon, and then really the other rulership of Cancer is our fourth house. Our fourth house resembles home, family, roots. So let's go back to that amplification just in simplicity over the next few weeks, right? If you're going to honor Cancer and kind of the moon, let's honor this fourth house as well of like, the home environment, setting it as a beautiful, peaceful place, right? Really
Mm.
in your home. I did laundry this morning. I usually don't love doing laundry, but it was like I was nurturing myself to the clothing itself. Lighting a candle can go such a long way, and you might just, as we start to track this over time, it probably was different when I lit it in Gemini season to lighting it now because of these energy forces of the home and that rulership of the fourth house. So, stating that as well goes into kind of the question because the fourth house, home, family, I like to say family kind of in the modern psychology side, right? Everyone's family is different. So you're looking at a family system is really kingship, right?
Mm.
Kingship around caregivers, right? Not everyone is labelized the same. It might be mother, father, step parents, right? It might just be an adoption caregiver. But I think when we look at our spiritual selves, we all relate to the element of soul family. So if
Mm.
you believe in kind of the reincarnation, if you believe in these past lives, we can believe they're present to this moment of did we choose our family? Did we choose our parents? Was I with them in a past life? What role did they play? So really the question coming down to everyone now is looking at the representation of who is in your soul family. right? And you can maybe meditate and go back to some past lives and honor some of these visions. But I would look just in the present moment, who right now, from friends to mentors to your direct family, are they part of that soul family? What role and what title did they play in this lifetime compared to past lifetimes? Do you believe that they even played a role in that past lifetime? Because we're all here to experience, and the people that are around us, even in our interaction of ourselves right now, right, we're so powerful to help communicate out to the world people. But was there this soul bond in past lives that we could experience? So asking people to sit on that question and really look at their lives and see, have I played this scenario out before? Whether it was in a
Mm.
marriage, whether it was in a business relationship, whether it was with my father and mother, I think would be super interesting. And now is a great time to explore this soul family bonding that you could experience now in this life.
Ooh, love that. I've been talking more about like soul family, soul tribe community. I think that's so important because, again, like we said in the beginning, it's if your environment has toxic elements, one being relationships, what's that soul contract like? Do you guys have a soul contract? Or, you can rip up that soul contract and be like, sorry, this didn't work out. Let's just go our separate ways, keep it moving. You cleanse yourself, you do your thing. But, it's important to know that you do really have control over these things. It's just a matter of like tapping into that energy, getting into a meditative state and connecting, with your higher self and your spiritual team, and being able to call on them for help when you are going through these really rough times, especially in relationships, and asking yourself like, okay, what's this connection here? Like, are you a part of my soul tribe community, my soul family? Or am I just holding on to you? Like, people come into your lives for seasons, and that doesn't mean they're going to be there for the rest of your life. So
Mm.
I really like that you put it in that way.
Well said. And I think you pointed out too, it's what's, I think, purpose and intent in this world, right, is
Yeah.
so impactful. And every day having that intent and that purpose to just live our lives, but being conscious now of kind of these elements to the people in our lives. I've personally had past relationships romantically that I was like, man, I wonder in a past life if we got married. And then if you can go through these visions and tap into them and be like, maybe it didn't turn out so well, or maybe it did. Like, what could have we done better? What could have we done, or is this just not meant to be? And that was our intent as well, to walk away, which is fascinating. But I think at the end of the day, to take the responsibility to make the choice with more conscious effort and more consciousness is powerful. So, I mean, you're heading into a marriage right now. Do you feel that soul bond with your partner that
A
you've always?
hundred percent.
That's
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, literally, I said to myself the other day, I'm like, damn, I'm so happy I found you.
Yep. And I think the resonation of the energy, it brought you guys together, right? And I
Yeah.
think everyone out there that's in a relationship, looking for a relationship or what have you, I think, the souls will always kind of find, but again, can we be conscious enough to go to that effort? And I think this is a perfect time to nurture all those elements too, with the energy of Cancer out there, which is going to be pretty powerful for people.
Yeah, when you fill up your cup and you nurture yourself, that's when let's just say, if you are looking for a romantic relationship, that's when you call in your soulmate. That's when you call in that soul tribe community, whether it be for business or just like adult friends.
Well
Like we go through life and everyone's like, oh, like, they'll hold on to friendships from, with people from the time they were like 5 years old, 11 years old. And, there's always drama and fighting. And it's like, maybe you guys aren't like meant to like keep being friends.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. What's the service this is providing? Have I learned my lessons and upgraded? And I think the judgment, hopefully, we can start to break in our society, right? It's not good, not bad. It's just the honoring of ourselves. And it goes right back
Right.
to self-protection. Absolutely. Because if I'm the best version of myself and my energy field and my sources is vibrating at this high frequency of enlightenment, joy, that's going to bring in people that are energetically the same. But it is learning those lessons of, if this relationship isn't serving me anymore and it's bringing my vitality down, I need to protect that. I will go in my shell. Let me think about it. Let me come out with a different conscious effort, but it is really that part of, hey, there's no good or bad. It's just the reality of the circumstances of honoring my own emotions for sure, 100%.
Love that. Love that. And you actually just sparked because I've been meaning to do this. I'm definitely going to create a past life meditation for people because past lives, I mean, we could talk about this obviously on another episode, but it is so fascinating to learn about. And I know people will be like, past lives, what the hell are you talking about? But hear me out. Like, it is so important to do this work because if you're not accessing your soul's blueprint and memory and past emotions, all of that just gets kind of like trapped and your soul becomes fragmented and you're not able to truly like step into your authentic self and what you're really meant to do in this lifetime. So I always implore people to do some type of past life, whether it be a meditation, whether you go to hypnotherapy and you get a regression of some sort. It's fascinating to learn because now you're learning more about yourself and it kind of brings these pieces of the puzzle together of like what you're really meant to do. Like I know I've been through multiple past like I've been told I have like an ancient soul. You do too, for sure.
Oh,
Um
we both absolutely do. Yep.
definitely. And like Native American, mother healer, like multiple past lives. Like and I look at what I do and I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, look what you're doing now, right? Because it's repetition. And I think as you look at these past lives, I mean, I've seen 10 to 12 different ones of the work I've done, and it's the same repetition. It's the repetition. And I think the consciousness of, yes, the acceptance of what we're doing now, look how it's playing out in our lives, but also like, well, what's the wound I need to heal, right?
Yeah.
What do I really need to work on? And for me, financial fear has always kind of played out. I was a Roman Empire at one point as a knight and
I
was
could see that.
I was I was thrown out of the kingdom though, and I just everything was kind of taken. And when you're stripped down there, it's like, like what did I do from an ego standpoint in that environment as a knight, or what ethics did I overcome? And then having it play out sometimes in my career here of making sure that it's not about the money, it's about really having abundance, yes, letting it come to fruition of comfort and sustainability, but I think these lessons of we're here for a reason. It's time to learn it from these past patterns. Another one was having a bunch of wealth but not sharing it, right? And that was
Mm,
I saw too that, now I'm so much more conscious. And I think to summarize that up too, where astrology can come into play, this map, I mean, we're focusing on, a few elements. I mean, it is endless. And
endless.
we haven't even talked about aspects of oppositions and squares that are kind of resembling in our charts of the obstacles that we're here to face with our soul. And I think that consciousness now, I can see where the financial fear came from. I can see where partnerships have struggled for me, and now being so aware of that map and just having that extra element, having the hypnosis ability is so powerful to bring right into this present moment and just say, all right, like this is my intent every day of prospering. And I think that's where combining everything. So, that's why Captain's Legacy, we wanted to kind of start it and build the philosophy with astrology, scientific spirituality, and modern psychology, because we can take a session with an individual and bring them into kind of a hypnosis state to look at, yes, their astrology energy forces and give them the consciousness there. But we all as individuals, when you come out with your meditation, I will definitely leverage it because it is that element of how much depth can we go to the unconscious mind, where I do believe these past lives, these past experiences live, and it might be years from the Roman Empire to the Native American tribes, or it could have been when you were 8 or 7. And if you can really just see that vision and reframe the purpose and intent, it's kind of what we do at Captain's Legacy. But I think all of us can have the power over time to just enable it and reframe and adjust, and we can fix these patterns. And I don't want to say fix, actually. We can honor the patterns and take them
Honor,
out.
navigate. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of my past lives, and it makes so much sense because, like just being in the science realm, I was like really I guess you could say scared to come out to be like, yeah, like I have mediumship abilities, like kind of weird, but okay. And one of my first past lives that I ever experienced in meditation was me being burned at the stake as a witch.
Which,
As a witch, and I'm like, no shit. Okay, makes sense why I was scared to come out.
yep.
And working through it through like healers and hypnosis and all of these different elements, astrology, and bringing them together and being like, okay, how can I honor this wound where it's something that absolutely needs to be amplified and shared in this lifetime. And so not being scared of my own gifts, my own intuitive abilities, because I'm very intuitive. And sometimes I'm almost like, whoa, like how did I don't even know what's happening here. But yeah, no, that it's so fascinating. And I'm so happy you're doing this work. The fact that we went to college together, we both played sports, we were both in some type of science element. I mean, I definitely wasn't. I don't know if you were there, but we started getting a yoga instructor. I think her Melissa was her name, at least for the track team, the girls track team at least. And that actually prompted my journey as to being like, I'm a little curious about this realm. Like, what's happening here? And but during college I was never like very like I wasn't into crystals. I was spiritual, but not in that sense, So it's interesting how we reconnected again, like
I
doing
would say,
this work.
yeah, I would say for our journey, and then you hit on the social construct, right? The livelihood. So if you do go to those past lives, to your point, society wasn't set up at times for some of these different things. So to see this spirituality and see this forefront, like I think I was talking to someone this past weekend. I was like, I'm 31 right now. I'm like, I'm gonna be asked to maybe live another 30 years. It only gets me to 60. I'm like, I'm exhausted right now. The world is going to be so vastly different 30 years from now, and to see this movement of spirituality, and for you to honor this course that you're going in, and I think the social construction that we have now is super powerful, and I think astrology will play a role, spirituality, so it's such a perfect timing to it. But I'm with you. We could still probably have some people like, what the heck's astrology? What are these, talking to the dead or things like that? But I think astrology is so fascinating to that sense because you have Cancer in Sun in your 12th house. 12th house is spirituality. It's about, transcending. So all your past lives and the power that you have now, it's like I wouldn't even bat an eye. Like it makes sense. Completely
Right.
makes sense. And it's so cool when we get to look at charts and put those things together. And I think people, as we communicate this out, I hope they look at their own chart, they look at their abilities as well, and just honor it because screw it. We're going to honor it for ourselves, and whatever brought you to the awakening is super powerful. But yeah, if you told me 10, 11 years ago that me and you be rocking on a beautiful podcast talking stuff, like that's interesting. I mean, but
Okay, sure.
we'll see. We'll see. But that's what's cool of, I think the quote of the past breeds us, the present makes us, and the future leads us. So, and
Mm.
in that moment, seeing where we go from there.
I love that so much. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on again and sharing your knowledge. Guys, go get your readings. Go check out Captain's Legacy. I mean, astrology really is a great integration tool to learn more about yourself, to learn more about your life, to learn more about your soul's mission and purpose. And it will help you, along your journey, even if you are struggling with health, with finances, with like whatever it is, like your chart will show you. Like there's no, you can't make it up. It just this is what it is. So I highly implore everyone to go check it out. And Jake will be back again next month.
Sure. I appreciate you and happy early birthday. Go enjoy it and lean into that Cancer season.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Guys, if you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.